Namandavts, 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 namandavts.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to our hybrid virtual in-person service. My name is Kiki, and I would like to thank you all for attending this morning's combined Dharma family December Shotsuki Memorial and Bodhi Day service. On Bodhi Day, we commemorate Shakyamuni Buddha's attainment of enlightenment Bodh Gaya in northern India over 2,500 years ago and reflect on its significance in our lives today. We will begin this service with a moment of quiet sitting. Reverend Kurohara will strike the bell and we sit for 1 or 2 minutes to quiet our minds and prepare to hear the Dharma. Then he will strike the bell again and we'll continue with the service.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandavts, 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 namandavts.
Reverend Kurohara will now chant the Shishin Rai, which is on page 27 of the large service book, followed by the Hyobya Akumon dedication passage. Following the dedication, Reverend Kurohara will chant Amida Kyo, which is on page 101 of the large service book. During the chanting, the Shotsuki families are welcome to come up and offer incense.
Namandavts, 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 namandavts. Namandavts, namandavts. 이심 개이레이 나모 시심 개이레이 나모 쇼 うほししんけいれいなもしょうちうそう。Dedication 標白 Today, on this occasion of December Shotsuki monthly memorial service, we gather to remember our family members and friends who passed away in the month of December. The end of life is inevitable for all beings. We may recognize the truth of Buddha's teaching that everything in this world is impermanent. And yet, as we grieve the parting of our dear loved ones, we find it difficult to accept this truth in our hearts. With great compassion, Amida Buddha established a vow to lead all sentient beings to the realm of nirvana upon their departure from this world, and bring about their attainment of the highest enlightenment and a complete liberation from suffering. Because of this vow, they have now become enlightened ones, or Buddhas, who compassionately embrace and guide us on our journey to liberation from suffering. May we encounter the guidance of the Buddha and deepen our appreciation of Buddha's compassionate benevolence. May we remember with gratitude all we have received from the deceased, and reaffirm that we continue to spiritually receive the guidance within their embrace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Now I will read the names of our Dharma friends, family members who passed away before us in the month of December. Harumi Suzy Aoki, Dick Hideo Fujioka, Tazue Lucille Fujita, Gary Anthony Glenn, Jay Glock, Helen Shigeko Harada, Mitsuru Haraguchi, Nora Hatae, Sadami Hayashida, Shigeo Hoki, Jane Michiko Imamura, Diane Ishida, Nathan Mokichi Iwasaki, Yoshimi Jinbo, Hide Jinbo, Toshio Kaji, Tazuko Kanda, Toshiko Kaneko, Mio Katayama, Sode Kawano, Kameyo Kikkawa, Tomiko Kosakura, Akira Kurihara, Erekwol Kurihara, Hisako Masunaga, Saburo Matsumoto, Wakaji Matsumoto, Shizue Su Matsuoka, Fred N. Miike, Masuyo Mitsuyasu, Kiyoshi Mitsuyasu, Shio Mizusaki, Asano Muramoto, Grace Y. Nakahara, Sachie Nakahara, Haruko Nakano, Kimie Nakao, Minoru Nojima, Yoshie Nonaka, Stefan Odoneo Olivia, Masako Matoi Oishi, Shinichi Okimoto, Kanichi Okita, Komura Okita, Keiji Onizuka, Hideko Oshima, Kishino Ota, キャシー・林田・ロメオ、時榊、コナミ・佐々木、ロビン・佐々木・レデカー、ヘンリー・カオル・白本、エイコ・杉原、キク・隅田、ウィリアム・サマー、朝子・田組、アキラ・高羽、ヒロシ・高本、八重・豊田、グレイス・ユキコ・上田、トーマス・キタル・上久、ただし馬渡り、レベレン・ドクター・大鉄雲野、テルマ・俊恵・若狭、米子・山田、マウチ・山下、雪・横井、茂・横山、佐田・吉田、光一・吉村、ジョージ・敏夫・湯浅。So those people will be remembered during today's Shotsuki monthly memorial service. Now we would like to have a sutra chanting Amida-kyo, which is on page 101 in the purple service book. And so as usual, you are welcome to join Amida-kyo sutra chanting, probably 12 to 15 minutes sutra chanting, which I believe is a sort of a meditation, chanting meditation. So there is an English translation at the bottom of each page. You can follow the English translation too. And then during the sutra chanting, family members of the December Shotsuki memorial service, please do a Oshoko incense offering. Okay. Naman Dautsu, Naman Dautsu, Naman. Usen Amida-kyo, Nyōzei ga mon ichiji butzai shae kok gijuki kodoku on Yodai bikushu 1250人区海税大荒官首相知識長老シャリホトマカモ県連マカカショマカカ千年マカクチラリハタシュリハンダガナンダアナンダラゴラ標本ハダイビンズルハラダカルダイマカコヒンナンハクラアヌルダ尿税と初代弟子病床菩薩マカサ文殊シリ法事アイタ菩薩剣高大菩薩上昇神菩薩陽尿税と初代菩薩牛釈大観音と無料書大祝二次仏語長老シャリホト十税財宝果樹万の区仏道右世界明圧極楽合道右部ご阿弥陀根源在説法シャリホト非道学校妙意極楽合国修上無宿単樹昇楽光明極楽シャリホ極楽国道七十乱十七十羅も七十五十改税司法主総医女 税公被告明暗極楽右舎利発極楽国土牛ポチ白毒水十万五十地帯十二根社富士四辺街道金言瑠璃針五条上右老閣薬位金言瑠璃針社交釈衆名の二言直視地中蓮華大尿舎利小式小公王式王公釈式釈公白式白公二名高見舎利発極楽国土上十尿税空毒将軍右舎利発非仏国土上沙天学黄金二次昼夜六時二万だらけ五国修上上位昇誕各位英国上昇妙家供養他方十万の区分即位直時玄東本国凡直教行舎利本極楽国土上十尿税空毒将軍武士舎利本異国上右修十奇妙雑式市長白国空弱オム舎利下領賓が愚名市長聖書首長昼夜六時水和下音五音年長五根五力七宝大分八正道分尿税東方合同修上門税王に大質年仏年法年相舎利発尿物医師長実税財宝少々小医者が非仏国土無三幕主舎利発合仏国土小無三幕道司名画教宇治税商首長改税阿弥陀仏欲療法千流変化少佐非仏国土未風水道小法五十牛法羅も水味妙音非尿百千十学同時空差門税王社開示年上年仏年法年相死神舎利発合仏国土上十尿税功徳将軍舎利発法尿意運が非仏が皇后阿弥陀舎利発非仏光明無量生じ報告無償生下税公合意阿弥陀舎利発非仏寿命牛五人民無料無辺阿蘇義公光明阿弥陀舎利発阿弥陀仏成仏以来王根実行舎利発非仏無料無正門弟子海あらかん非税三十四小の地消防殺種薬部尿税舎利発非仏国土上十尿税空毒将軍舎利発極楽国土修上少者改税阿弥バチご中他う一生不生ご主人他非税三十小の知識単価無料無辺阿蘇義公摂舎利発修上門者応答発願願消費国小医者が特用尿税症状善人空営一所舎 ャリホトン深い小前言福徳因ね徳小被告シャリホトン薬善難自然用に門節阿弥陀仏主事名号脈一日脈二日脈三日脈四日脈五日脈六日脈七日一心不乱五人臨妙十字阿弥陀仏幼少修上現在午前前人修持神父天道即徳往生阿弥陀仏極楽国土シャリホツンガケゼリ公摂死後脈修上門税摂社応答ホツンガ消費国土シャリホツンヨガ根者三段阿弥陀仏不可思議功徳逃亡薬阿宿美仏趣味総仏大趣味仏趣味公仏妙音仏妙税と合賀社修正仏各王合国水光上絶相偏風三千大先生会天上実言妙等修上等心税小三不可思議功徳一切小仏小五年行シャリホト南方正解ウ日が東仏妙門公仏大円見仏趣味東仏無料精進仏妙税と合賀社修正仏各王合国水光上絶相偏風三千大先生会戦上実言尿等修上等心税小三不可思議功徳一切小仏小五年行シャリホト西方正解無量寿仏無量総仏無量道仏大公仏大名仏発想仏上皇仏尿税と合賀社修正仏各王合国水光上絶相偏風三千大先生会戦上実言尿等修上等心税小三不可思議功徳一切小仏小五年行シャリホト北方正解右縁見仏最小音仏南小仏日小仏毛明仏尿税と合賀社修正仏各王合国水光上絶相偏風三千大先生会戦上実言尿等修上等心税小三不可思議功徳一切小仏小五年行シャリホト下方正解牛支仏妙門仏妙高仏脱魔仏報道仏自法仏妙税と合賀社修正仏各王合国水光上絶相偏風三千大先生会戦上実言尿等修上等心税小三不可思議功徳一切小仏小五年行シャリホト情報正空凡の仏宿の仏工場仏高校仏大円見仏雑式法慶言神仏タラ十王仏法慶特仏見一切義仏妙趣味千仏尿税と合賀社修正各王合国水光上絶相偏風三千大先生会戦上実言尿等修上等心税小不可思議功徳一切小仏小五年行シャリホトお如意運河学校妙意一切小仏小五年行シャリホト薬善難し 全如人門税商仏商説明牛行名者税商全南市全如人海一切小仏具称号海徳不大天の阿のくたら三脈三宝大税公舎利能と海と真珠が語牛小部小説舎利法脈人異発願根発願超発願翼小阿弥陀仏国師税商人と海徳不大天の阿のくたら三脈三宝大王妃国土脈異小脈根性脈東所税公舎利本所全南市全如人脈信者応答本願消費国土舎利本如が根者小三小仏不可思議空読非小仏と略小説が不可思議空読二左前釈迦牟尼仏の偉人南慶牛寺のシャバ国土豪辱悪性公辱権辱煩悩辱衆生辱名辱中阿のくたら三脈三宝大異小衆生三世一切世南進司法舎利本統治が王豪辱悪性行師南寺徳阿のくたら三脈三宝大一切世権摂氏南進司法税異人な仏世司教医舎利本牛小美句一切世権天人阿修羅等文部諸説寛義真珠さらいにこう仏説阿弥陀経アマンダブアマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブガンニシクドク平等性祭道法菩提心往生安楽ナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダーツナマンダー
Please rise if you're able to follow along with the Gatha, the Bodhi tree, which is on the handout. Please remain standing for the reading of the Golden Chain too. I will now recite the Golden Chain 2 on page 15 of the Large Service Book. Please feel free to follow along. I am a link in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be gentle to every living thing, protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds. Knowing that what I do now depends not only on my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in the Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Dao Tzu. Namo Dao Tzu. Namo Dao Tzu. You may be seated. We will now have a Bodhi Day presentation by the Dharma School students.
Good morning, Sangha. So today the Dharma School will be making a presentation. We're going to have our readers on the side, and we're going to have the little kids adding color and personality to our presentation. So when we're ready, we will begin. We're ready? Okay. Enjoy.
Hey, I'm too short for this. Okay. Hello. So this is the BBT Dharma School Bodhi Day presentation of 2023. Happy Bodhi Day, Sangha. Thank you for joining us today. Please join me in Gasha. Namami Doubts. Namami Doubts. Namami Doubts. Namami Doubts. We are here to awaken from the illusion of our separateness. What would you say if I told you you were living under an illusion of a lie? Would you get angry, dismiss my accusation, or ask for the truth? Before we discuss the truth, what is the lie?
Once we are born, as we mature, we believe that we are separate individuals untethered by the constraints of free will to do as we please. Our society admires a self-made person.
Because we are physically separate from one another, it feels like we stand alone and separate. If left to our own devices, our thoughts and concerns are directed to ourselves. Much of our energy is spent trying to fulfill our desires, and if left in our ignorance, we could easily be consumed with only self-centered concerns.
The truth is that a person is not a detached being, but has a universal aspect. Our roots must go deep down into the universe to attain the greatness of personality. If we were made to live in a world where our self was the only factor to consider, then that would be the worst prison imaginable. Our deepest joy is growing greater by more and more union with the all. Only by awakening to the one universe law, Dharma, the truth of all things, do we become great and realize universal life.
The Buddha, in his compassionate wisdom, taught the foundational principle of interdependence and interconnectedness. The Buddha taught us the foundational truth to lead the Sangha away from suffering caused by the lie of separateness and isolation. This truth is explained by the beautiful metaphor of Indra's net.
Indra's net. Far, far away, in the adobe of the great god Indra, king of heavens, hangs a wondrous, massive net. Much like a spider web in intricacy and loveliness, it stretches out indefinitely in all directions. At each node or crossing points of the net hangs a single glittering jewel. Since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. The sparkling jewels hang there suspended and supported by the net, glittering like stars, dazzling to behold. Imagine what this magnificent jeweled net looks like, spread across the vast expanses of space.
Moving close to one jewel in the net, look closely and you'll see that the polished surface of the gem reflects all the other jewels in the net. Infinite in number, just as two mirrors placed opposite each other reflect an image ad infinitum. Reflected in this, each jewel you are gazing into also reflects all the other jewels, so that the process of reflection itself is infinite.
Know that you are a sparkling jewel in Indra's net, as is every person around you. Every jewel is connected with all the other jewels in the net. Every person is intimately connected with all the other persons in the universe. Each has an independent place within the net, and we all reflect and influence each other.
A change in one jewel or person produces a change, however slight, in every other. Realize too that the infinite reflections speak to the illusory nature of appearances. Appearances are not, in fact, reality, but only a reflection. The true nature of a thing is not captured by its appearance, however powerful that appearance might be. It is yet only a reflection of what is real. In addition, whatever you do to one jewel affects the entire net as well as yourself. You cannot damage one strand of a spider web without injuring the entire web. and you cannot damage one strand of the web that is the universe without injuring all the others in it, whether that injury is known or unknown to them.
This can work for good or ill because, of course, just as destructive acts affect the entire net, so do loving, constructive, and compassionate acts affect the entire net. A single helpful act, even as simple of kindness, will send positive ripples across the infinite net, touching every jewel, every person, and existence. Feel this truth in your body. Take an inhale and an exhale, and radiate the jewel that is you throughout all of existence.
Universal truths are undeniable facts that are accepted by everyone and cannot be challenged. These truths are the realities of life that have been proven and cannot be changed by time, situation, or space. The truth of interdependence and interconnectedness is a universal truth that has stood the test of time. You see, the Buddha taught the Dharma 2,500 years ago. Let's watch this video by a modern-day astronaut who claims he experienced the same exact truth.
When we see our planet from the perspective of space, certain things become undeniably clear. We keep trying to deal with issues such as global warming, deforestation, biodiversity loss as standalone issues, when in reality, they're just symptoms of the underlying root problem. And the problem is that we don't see ourselves as planetary. When I looked out the window of the International Space Station, I saw the paparazzi-like flashes of lightning storms. I saw dancing curtains of auroras that seemed so close it was as if we could reach out and touch them. And I saw the unbelievable thinness of our planet's atmosphere. In that moment, I was hit with the sobering realization that paper-thin layer keeps every living thing on our planet alive. I saw an iridescent biosphere teeming with life. I didn't see the economy. But since our human-made systems treat everything, including the very life support systems of our planet, as the wholly owned subsidiary of the global economy, it's obvious from the vantage point of space that we're living a lie. We need to move from thinking economy, society, planet to planet, society, economy. That's when we're going to continue our evolutionary process. I'm Ron Garin. I'm a former NASA astronaut and former combat fighter pilot and the author of Floating in Darkness, A Journey of Evolution. We are all, as a species, to some extent, floating in darkness. And I use Plato's allegory of the cave to illustrate how a lot of times we think we know the whole picture, when in reality we see a very, very small representation. We don't see the actual picture that will allow us to solve a lot of the problems that we face. And we're paying a really high price right now as a civilization. This is a really, really dark time. And part of the reason why we're not solving the problems is because we don't have the right perspective. We're not addressing things in the reality of the situation that they exist. And I think that's one of the reasons why we need to leave the cave. We need to get out of the darkness. A lot of astronauts who go to space come back and they feel that there has been some sort of transformation. And a term was coined back in the 80s called the overview effect. And the overview effect describes the shift that astronauts have when they see the planet hanging in the blackness of space. There's this light bulb that pops up where they realize how interconnected and interdependent we all are. A little over 50 years ago, humanity as a whole had a collective out-of-body experience. On Christmas Eve, 1968, the crew of Apollo 8 came out from behind the far side of the moon on their fourth orbit. They took a famous color photograph, and that photo is called Earthrise. Earthrise is the first color photograph to see the whole planet hanging in the blackness of space, and the first to capture that for the rest of us. And this image revolutionized how we see the world, how we see ourselves. There is no such thing as them. There's only us. And precisely 1 year before the Apollo 8 astronauts were hurtling through space on their journey to the moon, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave a Christmas sermon on peace. And I believe that sermon really gives words to what Earthrise evoked. Dr. King said,
"As nations and individuals, we are interdependent.
We're not going to have peace on Earth until we recognize the basic fact of the interrelated structure of all reality." Now, the interrelated structure of all reality, that's not a cliche, that's not a philosophy, that's the reality of the world that we live in. That's fact. That what happens to one directly affects all of us indirectly, that we are all inextricably linked together in this fabric of life that we call Earth. So if the overview effect is that light bulb that pops on, is the awareness of our interconnected, interdependent nature, the orbital perspective, which is the title of my first book, is what you do with that awareness. The orbital perspective is the call to action. It's a sense of injustice that we see when we see the sobering contradiction between the indescribable beauty of our planet and the unfortunate realities of life on our planet for a significant number of the inhabitants. One of the things that I realized during my time in space is that we're not from Earth, we're of Earth. And to take that one step further, is that we're not in the universe, we are the universe. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself. A lot of what we're talking about doesn't require going to space to realize. You don't have to be in orbit to have the orbital perspective. And one of the tools that we can use is a term that I borrowed from cinematography called a dolly zoom. And what a dolly zoom is where the camera is rolled back or dollied back at the same rate as the lens is zoomed in, and it was used in Jaws and Vertigo and many other films. And what the filmmakers use that technique for is to give altitude to a scene as the foreground stays the same and the background stretches. But we could also apply that term to the challenges that we face. If we dolly zoom a situation, that means that we zoom out to the widest geographical area we possibly can, ideally the entire planet. But as we zoom out to that big picture, we don't lose focus on the worm's eye details on the ground. We don't zoom out to the point where people become numbers on a spreadsheet or a workforce or a voting block or a consumer block. They maintain their value as valued members of our human society. There's also a temporal aspect to this. We need to zoom out to the longest time frame possible, ideally multi-generational, but in the process we can't lose sight of the short term. The last part of a dolly zoom is to see things from different perspectives, and so we understand the depth of our problem, and that makes our solutions that much more lasting and that much more effective. You have an incredibly powerful position to affect real change in the world. What I try and do is to live a constant dolly zoomed life. I wake up every morning in my bed, but I also wake up on a planet. In the long term, I'm very optimistic because I do see quite clearly a blossoming unity spreading across our planet, a blossoming awareness of our interdependent nature. That awareness will eventually reach critical mass, and when it reaches critical mass, then we'll be able to solve the problems facing our planet. And it should give us courage during these dark times to keep doing what we know to be right and to not give up hope, because we are going to see the dawn. And when we can evolve beyond a two-dimensional us versus them mindset and embrace the true multi-dimensional reality of the universe that we live in, that's when we're going to no longer be floating in darkness. We're going to leave the cave. And it's a future that we would all want to be a part of. That's our true calling.
Get smarter, faster with videos.
When we
The Buddha and an astronaut realized the same exact truth. Our arrogance of individuality and the notion of our separateness is an illusion which causes great suffering. Through wars, othering, selfishness, and loneliness.
When we deeply consider our position in Indra's net, we, at the same time, realize that we are not from Earth, we are of Earth. Embracing the metaphor of Indra's net moves us to realize we are the universe becoming conscious of itself. From this arises the blossoming awareness of our interdependent nature.
Let's escape the illusion of separateness and evolve beyond the two-dimensional us versus them mindset. Once we embrace the true multidimensional reality of the universe that we live in, that's when we will no longer be floating in darkness. That's when a compassionate and kind world opens within our hearts.
Escape the prison of selfishness and enjoy the freedom of an ever-expanding universe. Escape the prison of selfishness and enjoy the freedom of an ever-expanding universe.
Please join me in Gasho. Albert Einstein wrote, "A human being is part of the whole, but he experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separate from the rest. This delusion is a kind of prison for us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion." Namo Dabzu. Namo Dabzu. Namo Dabzu.
We just want to thank Irene Sensei for putting on a great show, so we want to give her some flowers.
Thank you, Dharma School students, for your wonderful presentation. Please rise if you're able to follow along with the Gatha Boundless Gift, which is on page 170 of the Purple Service Book. You may be seated. We will now have, Now we would like to welcome the following guests. If you hear your name, please stand or wave or raise your hand so we can welcome you. Peter. Karen. Andrew and Jessica. Kathleen. And Eric. I will now read the announcements that have been submitted. The Palestine-Israel Compassionate Discussions is today at 12 p.m. in the social hall, hosted by the BBT Blend team. Please join if you can with an open heart and mind so we can have a compassionate, safe, and brave discussion. There is online meditations and discussion Wednesday, December 6th at 7 p.m. and the sign link is on our website. The annual temple cleanup is Sunday, December 10th at 8:30 a.m. Please come participate in our annual temple cleaning ritual. Breakfast will be served. It's at the Jodu Shinshu Center. Parking will be available and open at 8 p.m. 8 a.m., my bad. The Way of Tea. Joyce Oishi, a BBT temple member, is planning a gathering to share a bowl of matcha tea and sweets over a conversation about Chado, the Way of Tea, for January and or February. Everyone is invited. If you're interested in joining, please contact Joyce Oishi. She is here today, and the information is posted in the social hall. The BBT High School class requests donations for the Share the Spirit 2023 fundraising campaign for Building Futures. Building Futures' mission is to build communities with underserved individuals and families, where they are safely and supportively housed, free from homelessness and domestic violence. There are three ways to give for our goal of raising $3,000. You can donate online. You can purchase a gift card from Walmart, Target, Safeway, Visa, or a gas station. Or you can write a check to the Building Futures, not BBT. Please make donations online before Sunday, December 10th, or bring mail/gift cards and checks to BBT Cleanup on Sunday, December 10th. If you have questions, please see the Padma. Now the students will be dismissed to their classes. With Dharma School students, please go to the front, gasho, and go to the classroom. All others are invited to remain for the adult Dharma talk.
Okay, so before I start talking, may I ask you to put your hands together in gasho. How to listen to a Dharma message. Listen as if I'm listening for the first time. Listen as if the message is for myself alone. Listen as if this is the last chance to listen to the Dharma. In Japanese, 弔問の心得。この度のこのご縁は初事と思うべし。この度のこのご縁は我一人のためと思うべし。この度のこのご縁は根性最後と思うべしと。ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏。Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for attending today's service. It's nice, so cute, like a tiny, small, astronauts, nice helmets. So before their presentation started, I was wondering why they're wearing helmets, and then I watched the video. Then I understood. But occasionally we have a Dharma school presentation. So I really appreciate the hard working of Dharma school teachers to coordinate and then plan. And then Dharma school students, they practice, every Sunday they come. So, and then I don't have to give a Dharma message for 1 week. Good for me. And then I believe their message is much better and then much more powerful than my regular Dharma message. So. I hope you enjoyed and then learned. There are many wonderful Dharma lessons messages in the Dharma school presentation. That is a great message. So now I'm going to introduce my quote, the quote for my message today. So with this quote, I would like to give my Dharma message for today. So if you can, one more time, please put your hands together in Gassho. Seeing the sentient beings of the Nembutsu recitation throughout the world, countless as particles in the 10 quarters, the Buddha grasps and never abandons them, and therefore is named Amida. In Japanese, 実法未尽世界の念仏の主情を見備わし、摂取して捨てざれば阿弥陀と名付け奉ると。ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。はい。So today chairperson is Kiki. He did a great job, and then he mentioned at the beginning of the service. So it's a Bodhi Day service today. So Bodhi Day, it's a celebration of Shakyamuni Buddha's attainment of enlightenment. So about 2,500 or 600 years ago in India, this person who used to be a prince of a kingdom in India, but he, realized the reality of human existence, human life, kind of hit the, spiritually hit the wall, and then decided to, throw away everything, and then pursued a spiritual quest. And then after a long spiritual quest and then practice, he attained so-called enlightenment, Buddhahood, Satori, Gedatsu, Nirvana. There are many, different terms to describe what he attained. So it is said that was December 8th. December 8th. So that's why we have this Bodhi Day service in December. And then usually we have 3 major kind of important services for Shakyamuni Buddha. So December Bodhi Day, and then April, what? Hanamatsuri. In Japanese, we call Hanamatsuri to celebrate his birth. So mainly Mahayana or Japanese Buddhist tradition, we celebrate his birth in April. But if we go to Southeast Asia, like a Theravada Buddhist tradition, mainly they celebrate in May. And then another thing is February. February we have another service for Shakyamuni Buddha is Nirvana Day. So when he passed away, he entered the great Nirvana. We have another big service to celebrate or to remember his entering the great Nirvana. But anyway, so BBT, now we have a monthly Dharma talk topic theme. And in December, looking at the schedule, I realized only one service this month. Only this service today. Next week, we will have a Osoji, temple cleanup. And then the next one is New Year's Eve, December 31st. So maybe we have monthly topic, but only for this Sunday. So enlightenment. What is enlightenment? So sometimes Buddha Dharma or Buddhism is kind of symbolized into this wheel, kind of wheel of Dharma that we call. And then this wheel of Dharma, see, now I got a new technique. It's kind of spinning. So PowerPoint is really fun. I enjoy playing with PowerPoint. So this wheel of Dharma, which kind of symbolizes Buddha Dharma, Buddha's teaching, guidance. And then, so this kind of Shakyamuni Buddha, after attaining enlightenment, first he was wondering, should I share this wonderful guidance, teaching, wisdom other people, or just enjoy by myself? And then there's an encouragement, other Indian deities, and then he decided to spread this teaching with many people who have difficulties suffering. And then that's what we call Buddhism today. And then this teaching spread to, from India or maybe currently Nepal. And then from there spread to many Asian countries. So one kind of big route is kind of Northern Asia, north part of Asia. And then other tradition goes to the south of Asia. So then the teachings came to Japan and then revealed, kind of took a form or more emphasizing upon the Amida Buddha's teaching. Shakyamuni Buddha, he taught many teachings and then talked about the many different Buddhas too. So today we had a Amida Kyo service. Thank you very much for chanting, joining the chanting. It's easier for me. I can take a breath because you chant. So thank you very much for joining a chanting. So Amida Sutra talks about Amida Buddha and then Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Shakyamuni Buddha in his life taught many different teachings. And this teaching of Amida Buddha kind of become a one school tradition we call Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. And then Berkeley Buddhist Temple is a part of this Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, Japanese Pure Land Buddhist tradition. And then Shinran is Venerable Shinran is a founder, 13th century in Japan. And then Honganji is our mother temple in Kyoto. And then this teaching, Dharma Wheel, came here. California, Bay Area, Berkeley, 1911. This temple was established. And since over 100 years, we Buddhist Sangha members enjoy this teaching. We received great guidance from the Buddha. So from the Shakyamuni Buddha's time, 500, 600 BCE in India, and then now 21st century, Bay Area, Berkeley, we receive this teaching, Amida Buddha's guidance. And then Venerable Shinran, he was the 13th century Japanese monk, but this temple kind of built based on his guidance, his teaching. So over 2,600 years, and then from India to North America, it's a big, big journey. So we shouldn't take it for granted that we enjoy this teaching here today. So every time I think of this kind of thing, this image came to my mind. Some of you know this, but This is a kind of part of a TV commercial of cell phone company. I think this is Verizon. Well, I'm a T-Mobile, user, but this is a TV commercial of Verizon. And then I see kind of Buddhist message on this commercial, TV commercial. When we make a call from my cell phone or sending a text from here, it's a very simple thing. However, for us to make a call, for us to send an even single message, there are many innumerable number of people working behind the scene, right, to support our kind of this technology. So the kind of Dharma Buddhist message from this cell phone company is kind of awareness. And we should become aware of those many causes and the conditions. Sometimes we can see them, but sometimes most of them are behind the scene. So they are invisible, and then we don't see them. But it's nice for us to become mindful enough to become aware of those things. And then, to my understanding, that is one of Shakyamuni Buddha's Buddhist teachings, awareness, or maybe causality. And then this teaching, Buddha's encouragement is to kind of nurture or to receive this kind of eyes to see, to see things from a broader perspective. And then this is how I can connect my message with Dharma School, student message presentation. So yeah, I think we are living on Earth. It's hard to see, this Earth itself as long as we live here. So once, astronauts go to moon, and then they can see this beautiful blue planet floating in the darkness. And then, so that's how, we can see things from different perspectives, right? And then, especially kind of broader perspective. And then we can see more things, right? But Buddhism is not just talking about, take a step back, and then get a broader, like a Dali, kind of Dali zoom, or maybe, changing perspectives. But not changing the perspectives, but at the same time, by changing perspective, by getting a broader view, and then we need to cultivate those things. We need to develop those things. So for example, right? So even, making a single call, sending a single text, so many people, working for us to do so, right? So once we realize those people, things behind the scene, I think we can make our appreciation, gratitude deeper or broader, greater. And then understanding acceptance, right? So I'm here, 48 years old. I was born 48 years ago, born in Japan, and came over here. So in my 48-year life, I received so many, supports. And then 3 meals a day, I received the sacrifices of many, animals and then, plants, vegetables, right? So if we look at ourselves, especially from my past, right? All things, all causes and conditions that have made, this present moment possible, right? Then we could have a understanding, acceptance of different people. I think this is another topic in the Dharma School presentation. So, everyday life, we have to encounter people we dislike or we don't get along with, right? So it's easy to be kind of just separated or argue each other. But another approach is try to understand why we have a different ideas, why we are different, right? So each person, since they were born, receiving a different experiences, receiving a different education, different upbringings, different culture, right? That's how people, make up each person. That's how those many things kind of form who we are, our personality. Right? So if we can see, others in that way, maybe we could have a room to accept the differences or understanding other people. Right? And then responsibility and humility. Yeah. So who I am now is based upon the result of many causes and conditions in the past, which means how about our future, right? This present moment is one of the many causes and the conditions of our future too. So depending on how we live or how we behave, and then we can change, we can give an influence to the future. So if we think that way, maybe we can be more responsible, or we could be more humble. Right? So those are the kind of receiving the eyes to see things from a broader, different perspectives. And then as a result, we could develop or nurture those important virtues for us to live better. So this is one teaching, one Dharma guidance from Shakyamuni Buddha that I received, and then I really, valued. Yeah. But may I continue? So this is the kind of first part of my Dharma message, and then depending on the time, I was thinking maybe I could stop here, or there is another kind of section I could continue. Let me continue. Yeah. Maybe give me more 10 minutes. So, speaking of Buddhism, there are many different teachings, lessons, Dharma lessons. And then this is one interesting conversation between Chinese poet and then Buddhist monk, elderly Buddhist monk. So one time this Chinese poet, he heard, oh, Buddhism was great. And then this poet visited this elderly Buddhist monk. And then, hey, please tell me about the Buddhist teachings. Tell me about the Buddhism. And then this elderly monk said, do not commit evils. Do all that is good. And try to keep your thought, mind pure. And then this is the teaching of all the Buddhas. So this is a kind of common, like a bottom line of Buddhist teaching. Hearing this response from this elderly Buddhist monk, and he said, what? That's it? Even 3-year-old child knows that. And then in response, he said, I knew that. I'm 80 years old. I've practiced Buddhism for many decades. But it is really difficult to do so. So I think this is a really interesting, good point of what the Buddhism is. So this Shotogatha is called the Teachings of Seven Buddhas in Japanese, Shichibutsu Kaige. This is a very short summary of Buddhism. So we talk about the teaching of impermanence. This is one of the Buddhist teachings. And then interdependence. Things are connected to each other, supporting each other, right? And the Buddha taught for suffering, right? We have to deal with, the suffering of birth, suffering of aging, suffering of getting sick, and then death, dying. Yeah. So we can understand maybe here, intellectually, we can receive those information objectively. But the question is, how much do we really, live with them, right? Okay, so someday I will die, but or someday I will get sick. But once we get the serious disease, most of us get really upset. Right? So if we really live with this, maybe we don't get that upset, or death too, right? If we, truly really live with the teaching of impermanence, right? So once we are born, someday we die. Maybe today or tomorrow, week later, right? This is the reality of teaching of impermanence. If we really live with it, we don't get upset. But most of us, when we face the death of our loved one, myself, we totally kind of devastated, get upset. That means still those teaching could be information, knowledge, or for somebody else. Do we really live those teaching in a true sense? So this elderly monk said, but I know what the Buddha said, but it's really to truly practice it, to truly live with them. That is his really honest, response as a Buddhist practitioner. So maybe his teacher, master could say, so you couldn't make it. Okay, so come back next time. So maybe this is one reaction to Buddhist practitioner, right? To those who follow the Buddhist practice. Maybe some Buddhist traditions, it's really strict, very severe, serious, right? So if you engage yourself Buddhist practice, you have to make a progress, right? This is one kind of many Buddhist paths. So our school, Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, a little bit different. So this is the image of Amida Buddha. So how would Amida Buddha say? I know the Buddhist teaching, but to be honest, it's really difficult to truly follow that, to truly practice, perform that. So will Amida Buddha reject you or accept you because you couldn't make it? So enlightenment. So this enlightenment means is to enlightened to the realities. So Buddha was enlightened to the reality of our everyday life, how we live our everyday life. We are under the influence of three poisons. And then this world is so complicated, so many difficulties, challenges. And then it's really difficult to change this world, right? Buddha also enlightened those realities of human existence, human life, and then reality of this world, this Saha world. So I know how difficult it is to make progress, to be a better person, right? To do good thing, avoiding evil thing. I know how difficult it is, but don't worry, just do your best. I think that's Amida Buddha's approach or guidance, embrace. So this is Amida Buddha's compassion. And then receiving that, Amida Buddha's compassion or acceptance, understanding, then we Buddhists can, do our best. Try to, okay, Amida Buddha, I understand. Okay, so I'm perfectly imperfect, but okay, I will do my best, right? So this is a sort of Jodo Shinshu teaching. So then we kind of, continue our spiritual journey to the enlightenment or liberation from this life of suffering with Amida Buddha. So this is the teaching of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism delivered came from Shakyamuni Buddha. So again, thank you very much for attending today's service. This concludes my Dharma message. I would like to end my Dharma message reading this Shinran Shonin's Venerable Shinran's passage one more time. So if you can, please put your hands together. Seeing the sentient beings of the Nembutsu throughout the worlds, countless as particles in the 10 quarters, the Buddha grasps and never abandons them, and therefore is named Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, sure. Thank you very much. So I would like to say thank you to all those who have made today's service possible. This service is because of many causes and conditions, people behind the scene. But first, I'd like to say thank you to Kiki for being a wonderful chairperson today. ありがとうございました。Thank you. And then thank you, Tara, for preparing the charcoal for the Oshoko. ありがとうございます。Thank you. And then Dharma School students and Dharma School teachers for the wonderful Dharma presentation for this body day. And then thank you, David, and then other live streaming team for your help during today's live streaming service. ありがとうございました。And then Emiko-san, DI, and then all singers, thank you very much for your wonderful, singing a song. ありがとうございました。And then thank you, December Toba monthly group for preparing the refreshments after the service. ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. So this concludes today's service. Thank you everyone who joined the service today in person and virtually. So there will be no service next Sunday, but we will have a temple cleanup. So please, starting 8:30 だったっけ? Starting at 8:30? Yeah, please come and then enjoy a temple cleanup. ありがとうございました。Okay. ナマアミダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。